Heidelberg is considered one of the most beautiful cities in Germany. The picturesque ensemble of the castle, the old town, and the river Neckar surrounded by hills, which inspired the poets and artists of Romanticism, still fascinates millions of visitors from all over the world today. But there's more to Heidelberg than Romanticism. Heidelberg is a city of science and is home to Germany's oldest university, Heidelberg University, which was founded in the 14th century. Heidelberg is international. About 11.9 million visitors from all over the world come to the city each year. The population, too, is international. An estimated 56,000 of Heidelberg's inhabitants have an immigrant background. Many of them are scientists and students. But there's more to Heidelberg than Romanticism. Heidelberg Castle, also known as Heidelberger Schloss, is the most important Renaissance structure north of the Alps. The castle has only been partially rebuilt since its demolition in the 17th and 18th centuries. It is located 80 meters 260 feet up the northern part of the Königstuhl hillside and thereby dominates the view of the old downtown. Each year, Heidelberg Palace attracts around 1 million visitors from all over the world.
Here on our right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Castle of Heidelberg. It's actually just a house we trick people into thinking it's a castle.
That is cool.
Now, the Castle of Heidelberg will come up in 3, 2,
Yes.
1, and ladies and gentlemen, on your right-hand side is the Castle of Heidelberg.
Whoa! Ah! Yes.
I wasn't exaggerating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Castle of Heidelberg. You can see on top there is a flag flying. That's the flag of the federal state of Baden-Württemberg, because the federal state is taking care of the castle. But of course, in order to get into the castle, we will first have to make our way to our historic bus parking lot. On the bus parking lot, we have a wonderful collection of potholes on display for you. Lovingly preserved throughout the centuries. So if you are a pothole aficionado, which you can already. Now, underneath us, you can already see the river Neckar that flows through Heidelberg and the old town of Heidelberg. That's the old town of Heidelberg, and as I said, the river Neckar flowing through it. Now, the river Neckar enters into the Rhine next to Mannheim, so you can see how the two cities are not only connected by roads, but also by water. But now for some bus driving acrobatics, because Victor first has to get us into the parking lot. And it's not that much.
Where do they even get
First
buses up here?
Just once. Now, of course, you can leave things on the bus if you want to, since we're going down with the bus. However, should you decide for some reason that you want to go down independently, maybe with a cable car, for instance, and please tell me so I can show you how you do that. And of course, don't leave things on the bus, because then you will see the bus again only when we go back to the ship.
Wow, look at that.
So here we are.
Change very fast. Everyone will stand here.
Dino, did you say the funicular was built in 1890?
1890. Of course, not these cars they have to,
Right.
which are used today. This is the third generation. But originally in 1890,
Oh
the
my
idea was
God.
to get tourists up to the castle,
Yeah.
not with carriages anymore. Oh, they had they had donkey taxis back then. Seriously. And then the ideas came up, like in Switzerland, a funicular.
Yeah.
And you can imagine who was really angry about that, the donkey taxi
donkeys.
lobby. But you probably noticed there are so many buses coming, arriving here at the same time. Oh, is there still someone inside? No, probably not.
Raise your hand if you're
Okay,
not
yeah.
here.
Shout out loud when you're inside. No, I think everyone should be here. This was the residence for centuries, and was also built here by the prince electors of the Palatinate. Or the original title was Count Palatine, but there were prince electors. There was a group of 7 prince electors over the centuries in the old German Empire, and those electors elected the German king or emperor. So it was an almost king-like position, and there was only a fixed group of 7 to do that. And one of them was the Count Palatine here from the Palatinate, was the name of the territory. And it was mostly around here, but I mean, these were not complete territories. Sometimes they had, sometimes there was a part of the country, or maybe 100 miles away. Probably tomorrow you will go through the Rhine Gorge, or do you go north?
We go north.
And yeah, when you go between Rüdesheim and Koblenz, the Rhine Gorge, the Middle Rhine Valley, then you will see many castles on both sides of the river, the famous Lorelei Rock, and then about half an hour after you've passed Rüdesheim, there is an island in the middle of the river with a castle on an island right in the middle of the river. It looks like a stone ship. And this, for example, was a toll station from here, although it was quite some distance to get there. So you will see it, you can't miss it tomorrow. Think about that this one belonged to the prince.
But it's not the same town. It's just the same town.
In Württemberg, yeah. But that's one of the 2 southern states.
Okay. But it's a state, not a cultural.
No, it's a state. We have a similar federal system like the United States.
Okay.
They have their own parliaments, they're half independent, so to speak, and their own governments and so on, and they take care of universities and police force and so on. And the castle is state-owned, like most major old residences in Germany. I mean, altogether we have more than 20,000 castles in Germany. A majority of them, usually the smaller ones, they're still private. But this is state-owned. I mean, it always was in a way. So, the flag. What do you think was the most important part of a castle?
The turret.
This is the stage which they just prepared. They will start rehearsals now for the annual Castle Festival. Here the stage in front of the old library building. And this is a tradition which goes back to the year 1927. And every year, here on the main stage, there are 2 smaller ones, every year they show a musical and a play. The play this year will be The Count of Monte Cristo, a musical Carmen. Oh, you know Carmen? Yeah. I don't remember the storyline. Is there a happy ending? Or is it like Romeo and Juliet? Oh. I remember as a play they had Romeo and Juliet that day, once here a few years ago. And I thought, maybe the director has another idea for the ending, but he didn't. It's so sad.
Keep hoping.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is the Castle Festival. Usually all the performances, you have to imagine 400, 500 people sit here in the evening, are sold out. Okay, the women's quarters, actually it's just the King's Hall today. A room with a stage inside, and there's room for 300 people. Very often it's rented by companies maybe, or someone to celebrate a wedding or something like that. Or the chef who runs everything here of the restaurants, he also started a few years ago kind of dinner shows. Selection, it's not a complete line, of members of the Wittelsbach family. The Wittelsbach family was a family originally from Bavaria, and then they became also rulers here, and then the family split. There was a Bavarian line and the Palatinate line here, and this is a special selection of members. But the first 2 rows are really prince electors from Heidelberg, from the Palatinate. Don't worry, I won't name them all to you. You will forget them anyway. So, but first row, right-hand side corner, there is a guy with a sword and an imperial orb. You see him?
Yep.
I usually want to pick him out because he was the one who had the idea for this building here. It's also called the Frederick's Building. And he looks quite strong and healthy here. Actually, it was a little bit different. I mean, he was a very successful ruler, but almost everything was decided for him by his group of advisors, a kitchen cabinet. And he only had to sign a document from time to time or a new bill if he was able to do so, because usually he was drunk every day. And he died aged 36. The liver was technically gone. And they wrote in the autopsy report, they wrote, we couldn't really prove the existence of a liver.
Jeez.
Yes, that's true. You will understand that when you've seen in a few minutes the famous wine barrel down there.
Wow.
So, over there, we can stay here from here. That's the Otto Henry building. That's Renaissance style. This is 50 years older. It was mid-1500s. And this was built by another Prince Elector. His name was Otto Henry. His reign lasted only 4 years. He was already 54 when he finally could take over from his uncle. And then 3 years later he died. But within this 3 years' time, he changed so many things like no one before and after him. Especially important, he introduced Reformation, made this a Lutheran, a Protestant territory. And you can see the man himself. So there is the upper door, the glass door. Above the upper door, there is a field with coats of arms. You see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And above that, to that woman's feet, there is a kind of medallion showing a man with a hat and a very thick beard. You see him?
Yeah.
So this was Otto Henry. On oil paintings, it's unbelievable. He looks like a twin of Henry VIII of England. But they were not even related. It was the same time, same fashion. But they were both very heavy persons. Probably he was even heavier. He was carried in a special construction the last years of his life, carried by 8 men. We don't know exactly, but we think that we are talking about almost 600 pounds here.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Yeah, this is something. He was not a heavy drinker, but a good eater. I mean, something which I do understand, but probably compared to him, I may look like a very slim pilgrim. Yeah, this was Otto Henry. But he was very popular in his days. I mean, this is 500 years ago. It shows a difference of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and it doesn't show like daylight saving time for some reason.
The size of that wine. Jay, the size of that wine.
This is the 4th and final barrel in this cellar, the biggest in the end. It's from 1751, and they needed about 100 oak trees to build it, and the capacity was 228,000 liters. That's around 60,000 gallons of wine, that you have an idea. 60,000 gallons. Why did they build a barrel of that enormous size? Well, they needed something to show off in the first place. Okay. And there was something else. There was a kind of, maybe, could you please come a little bit closer? So, okay, that's okay. I mean, we shouldn't give the others too much. So, just, okay. Yeah, because there was an unofficial competition between the Prince Elector from Heidelberg, Palatinate, and from Dresden, Saxony, another Prince Elector, and who has the biggest barrel in the world. And yeah, it's true. The last Saxon barrel, also the 4th barrel, was a little bit bigger than this one. It was situated on a fortress in Saxony, but in 1819 like this one, it was not used since a long time, but they demolished it. They thought, oh, we don't need this thing anymore. So ours was never touched. It was a princess attraction, of course, in the beginning, and now, since a long time, it's a tourist attraction. But there is no barrel left in Saxony. So in a way, we won in the end. If you destroy it, so it's your problem. No? So the wine, yeah. So it was filled 3 times, as far as we know. Only for the first 16 years, and then it was emptied forever. Why? It leaked all the time. Almost every week it had to be repaired. They couldn't control that technically back then. I mean, we're talking about the mid-1700s. There was not even internet back then. It was nothing. No. Not even telephone. No, it's they thought it's not necessary anymore. Keep it here, preserve it, yes, but not using it anymore. When it was used, this one and of course the other 3 barrels before this one was built here, they filled it with wine, with so-called tax wine, the 10th. Winemakers, I mean not just around here, but in other countries of course too, everywhere, they had to deliver 10% of their wine each year to the state as a tax wine. So, and some winemakers from this country, they had to take their tax wine or deliver it here at the castle, a group of winemakers. But the main problem starts now. They didn't tell them what to deliver here. So there was white, red wine, sweet, dry, it was all mixed together, no one cared. I mean, this is not a cuvée we are talking about here, this is a crime. Today, if you would sell a mixture wine like that, for money here, they would close down the place within an hour, I can promise you that. But back then, people didn't really care that much. Of course, the noble family, they had a better wine. But all the others who worked here was better than other things. I mean, drinking beer all day. What were the alternatives? Not water, there was not so much juices around. And coffee and tea were, well, they knew about them, but they were super expensive. Very exotic. So then even a mixture wine is okay. I mean, unbelievable today in a way, but yeah, this is what happened. So this is the famous barrel here. By the way, this last one video was built when the castle was not a residence anymore. After the fires and everything, but it was still used. The rest of the castle was not used as a residence, but this cellar here, the wine cellar, from time to time, the court came here from the new residence in Mannheim, or in the afternoon when they came back from the Neckar Valley here, from a hunting party, and then they came here and celebrated. There were 4 more of these small barrels here, and this one with the dancing platform. Wow. Okay. Any questions?
Oh, that's a secret knock.
Okay. Down there is the city of Heidelberg. Well, it's mostly the old town, what you see here at the moment. The old town has everything here on our side of the side of the river until the second bridge. So the first one is the old bridge down there. I really recommend that in your free time you go there and have a view from there. And until the second bridge where the tram is just going. You see that?
Yes.
There's a tram. And this is just one of 15 districts. And we have 155,000 inhabitants.